we have a ton of books today. You know, I thought
A ton.
a ton. You know, when we promoted True Devotion to Mary last week, you know, I said you know, there are two books more than any other books. I'd like people to buy on the store, and True Devotion and Diary, Saint Maria Faustina Kowalska. This book, you know, I developed a program to track sales on Amazon for all the books in our store to see which is the most popular book. For the past 10 years that I've been tracking it, Diary of Faustina is the most popular Catholic book of the past 10 years. I can safely say, because it is always in the top 10 of sellers for the past 10 years. It doesn't really let up. So if you somehow haven't read this book yet, what are you doing? How much more popular does Saint Faustina have to be before you read this book? For me, again, this is one of those books you want to read one chapter. Have you read this book?
No.
No, you haven't read this? Wow.
I haven't. I'm familiar with the devotion.
Wow.
But I have not read it.
Wow, gosh, maybe I'll gift you this copy then, because this is, yeah, take it.
No, I mean, I'm familiar, of course, with her.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I'm very, very familiar with the Sacred Heart devotion, and I know it was sister, and I know how this really was sort of a natural outgrowth of it.
Right, yeah, offshoot, yeah.
And
what you'll notice, what Charles is noticing right now, is there are words in bold. There are a lot of words in, some words in bold. The publisher, Marian Press, they did that sort of, I guess, for people browsing to easily see what words is Jesus saying to her. Some of these mystical things that he's saying. So if you just want to dip your toes in to the book, you don't want to read it and just flip through, it's pretty cool. Actually, that's actually what I did before I read the book. I just flipped through and was reading what Jesus was saying to her, and that got me in. But let's see, what else is there? I after I finished the book, I myself, I was so inspired by it that we kind of have an empty, unused closet in our house, and I turned that closet into a shrine to the Sacred Heart, kind of a quasi-shrine. I got a big old poster of the Sacred Heart, some Marian posters, put some Marian statues, put some posters of the angels and St. Michael's, and then I bought a kneeler. So it's a nice little place to pray. But this is the power of this book. This is what I'm sure other people have had a similar reaction to this.
so it's like a home altar you set up.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
That's what they call those things.
Oh, that's what they call those things? Okay, I didn't know if I wanted to call it an altar, because an altar is where a sacrifice happens, I thought.
No, they say the home altar.
Okay, yeah, so that's what that inspired. And the Divine Mercy Chaplet is something that I personally feel is an important supplement. It's a supplement to the Rosary, because we were talking, for Secret of the Rosary, we were talking about the Rosary a lot. And that, you know, when we're feeling happy, we say the joyful. When we are feeling sad, you say the sorrowful. And, you know, other times you say the glorious. Well, you get that same sort of situation, at least I do, for the Divine Mercy Chaplet. Sometimes I see something that really disquiets my soul.
Not today, not these days.
No, something that, yeah, when you see something and you think, wow, we're in a real bad way. We're in need of mercy. That is when I say the chaplet, because, you know, it's very simple to say a chaplet too. For the sake of, you know, the Hail Mary beads are for the sake of a sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world. So it's kind of an easier to say because your prayer is focused on humility, and also it's very beneficial because it's on compassion too.
Yeah.
And that's something that sometimes we have. A lot of times we'll look at it, you know, no-gooders, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And say, oh, man, they deserve to fry. But that's not what a Christian is supposed to be like.
We're supposed to acknowledge we're not in a position, I mean, as with the practices of saints that we find bizarre, it's not up to us to make that kind of judgment.
Right. Right. And we should be praying for mercy. We should be seeing these people and I don't know if this was from Faustina, but if Jesus said this for Faustina or someone else, but Jesus said, I'm sure in one of these by one of these mystics, the greater the sinner, the greater he has access to my mercy.
If he'll take advantage of it.
If he'll take advantage of it. See.
And I know one of her lines from our Lord is that I know this line with the diary, that he complained to her that people don't trust him.
That's right.
And that's very much a part of our lives, ladies and gentlemen, in the sense that you sometimes think that God's out to get you.
Yeah.
He's not going to give us a free pass, but he's on our side.
Yeah.
In other words, he's not simply going to say, do whatever you want, and that's okay, and we'll all waltz together after death. No. But in the great battle to try to remain virtuous, to try to stay faithful, he's on our side. That's why he's bent over backwards to get us the sacraments. That's why evil priests do not lose their power.
Yeah.
Because we need the sacraments more than God's justice needs to punish those guys.
Yeah.
Which is why a man can lose his faith in the Blessed Sacrament. He can be another piece of scum. But when he says the right words, the right material, in the right way,
yeah,
then our Lord comes. And this is a particularly important thing to bear in mind today, when all these things are going on. And the need that we all have for mercy, because one of the great temptations that face us in times like these is to forget that even though this guy is a worthless pedophile and that guy is a scumbag hierarch, what about me?
Well, see, that's another thing too, which is what I love from the Divine Mercy, because when you're saying it, for the sake of sorrowful passion, have mercy on us, you're acknowledging your own sins. I need the mercy. Because I'm a big time sinner. I need the mercy.
Yeah.
So that's another powerful thing that comes out of the Divine Mercy Chaplet.
So, all right.
A couple. I do want to say a couple other things because
Sure.
I can't talk. I mean, there's just so much to say.
And we're coming to the end of our time.
Yeah, I know. But let's see. The thing I like, another thing I like about this, the Diary of Faustina, it's not a hagiography. I actually don't. They're not my cup of tea. Hagiographies where they glorify, the saint, and I like biographies where you can see the weakness, you can see the human qualities, you can see the frailties, so that inspires you. Because you're like, these great saints were also very, they're not Superman.
No.
They're just
like
us.
To begin with.
And so she had struggles. She had a confessor. She had confessor problems. She had plenty of struggles and a lot of worries. But she also had qualities that are alien to us. We talked about in a previous time how I mentioned how she had a true love of God. God was the true love of her life. Even more than her family somehow. Which isn't to say she loved her family little. It's just her love was God. For God was so immense, and it was alien to see that. I've never seen that before from another human being. The difference there.
She's on a different wavelength.
And the other thing, which was completely alien, that we all need, you, me, everybody, that she had, which it's kind of hard to fathom. You guys probably aren't going to believe me when I say this. But she didn't talk about any other person, in order to avoid gossip. She didn't talk about any person unless they were in the room.
I will do it.
That's an unbelievable practice of silence to me. And she didn't express her opinion unless it was directly asked of her.
But everyone has a right to my opinion.
Wow. But so those are two things that, man, we need a lot of that. So Divine Mercy. There's one book.